Call this meeting of the Upshur County Commission to order. We'll begin by a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It's a sunny day out today for the first time in weeks. It just seems like hopefully a good couple of days before we have any more bad weather. I don't know what the weather report might call for rain.
Let's do more, that's amazing.
That's a good thing. Rain may be on its way. Well, first thing we have this morning is Jackie to read the minutes from the last session.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Jackie.
The County Commission of Upshur County, West Virginia held their regular meeting at the Courthouse Annex on Thursday, February 13, 2014 at 9 a.m. J.C. Rafferty called the meeting to order. There were present J.C. Rafferty, Commissioner, Donnie County Commissioner, Troy Grady, Commissioner, Megan Pomeroy, County Administrator, and Jacqueline Dinklocker, Secretary. The meeting began with a moment of silent meditation and prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All motions passed unanimously unless otherwise stated. After reading of the minutes, on motion by Troy Grady, second by Donnie County, the Commission approved the regular meeting minutes of February 6, 2014 as submitted. Laura Ward, Country Roads Transit Director, did not appear due to inclement weather conditions and will be scheduled to appear at a future meeting. J.C. Rafferty provided a review of the lease agreement by and between Craig Smith and the Upshur County Commission for the office space of the Braxton County office of the Lewis Upshur Braxton Community Corrections. The term of the lease is for a period of 5 months through June 30, 2014 at the rate of $325 per month. After discussion on motion by Donnie Tenney, second by Troy Grady, the Commission approved and authorized the President to sign the agreement. Troy Grady advised that after June 30, 2014, Braxton County will no longer be a part of the 26th Judicial Circuit Community Corrections Program per action taken at the February 10, 2014 meeting of the Community Corrections Board. J.C. Rafferty provided a review of the funding request for the purchase of playground equipment from the Buchanan Academy Elementary School PTO and advised that the request will be considered during the budget meetings in March. J.C. Rafferty provided a review of the Prevention Resource Officer Agreement by and between the Upshur County Board of Education and the Upshur County Commission. After discussion on motion by Troy Grady, seconded by Donnie Tenney, the Commission approved and authorized the President to sign the agreement. J.C. Rafferty reviewed the following for your information items. Number 1, West Virginia Regional Jail Bill, January 2014, $52,447.75. Number 2, Dog Warden Report, January 2014. Number 3, National Association of Counties Prescription Drug Discount Card Program Update. Number 4, Agendas and/or notice of meetings as listed. Number 5, meeting minutes and/or financial reports as listed. Number 6, Board of Equalization Review schedule. Number 7, meetings as listed. Number 8, appointments needed or upcoming as listed. Gary Rapking, a West Virginia University Extension Service Agent, and Craig Presar, 4-H Youth Development Agent, appeared before the Commission and provided a review of 2013 and 2014 programs and activities, which included agricultural and livestock programs, 4-H and youth services, and CEOS activities. Mr. Rapking expressed the staff's appreciation for their new office space located on Main Street and reviewed their proposed budget and funding request for the 2014 fiscal year. Commissioners noted the importance of the extension service to the community and advised that the funding request will be considered during the budget review. The Commission approved all invoices for payment. The Commission approved all vacation orders. The Commission approved the following settlements as listed. The Commission approved the following consolidation of land tracts as listed. The commission recessed at 11 a.m. The commission attended the meeting of the Upshur County Department of Supervisors at 1 p.m. The commission attended the meeting of the Upshur County Policy Board at 2 p.m. The commission reconvened at 3 p.m. And with no further business, on motion by Troy Brady, second by Donnie Kenny, the commission meeting adjourned at 3 p.m.
Thank you, Jackie. Are there additions or comments regarding the minutes or corrections?
Move to approve. Second.
Let's, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved and passed. Okay, following our 9:15, we have about 1 minute before Dr. Reed is to appear. We follow the schedule. So our first item for discussion, action, approval is Lumos Networks Renewal Service Agreement at a cost of $1,613.74 per month. Megan, would you like to comment on that?
Sure. We're in the process of trying to add 3 additional phone lines, 2 at the 911 center and 1 for the judge. And we have had Lumos, we've gone month to month. So we are looking at entering into a contract. I am in the process right now of getting 2 additional written bids on that, so that may have been a little bit premature, I apologize,
So
but
we'll
still working on it.
It will defer until
Yes.
you receive those bids and other information. Next, we have appointment to the Buchanan Upshur Board of Health, Charlena Eubanks, term to run from July 1st, 2013 to June 30, 2018. And I believe that was supposed to be someone from a particular magisterial district?
Correct, from Washington, and there was a little bit of confusion. It wasn't a very well-written statute about how to appoint someone, so we were waiting for a little bit of clarification. But Josh Marsh emailed me and said at their last board meeting they approved or recommended appointing Charlena to the board.
Do we have to vote on that? I think the board themselves, the health board has done that.
That's our appointment.
We do appoint them, okay. So I would
I'll
move.
move we approve. Second.
So moved and approved, that appointment is confirmed. Okay, Dr. Reed, it is now 9:15 and you have a presentation. Can you please identify yourself and your position for the viewing audience?
Dr. Joseph Reed, Medical Director of the Upshur County Health Department, resident of Upshur County for 45 years. Closed my office in 2008 after 40-some years in practice, during which time I spent many moments trying to encourage the avoidance and cessation of tobacco usage. I have presented to the county commissioners a request. Let me give the history of this briefly. Tobacco Coalition came to the Upshur County Health Department board meeting and requested that we consider asking that the new convention center and National Guard facility be made campus-wide tobacco-free. The regulations indoor, Upshur County Clean Indoor Act provide that. The federal regulations, if I understand correctly, provide that. And federal regulations also say that there is no, let me back up. These regulations require smoke-free indoor and within entrances as appropriate and within air intake areas. We are then Health Department has, on behalf of the Tobacco Coalition, prompting, has requested that the facility become tobacco-free for the whole campus. This follows the precedent of our St. Joe's Hospital, of our school system. I understand of Corehart, and hopefully soon will include West Virginia Wesleyan College. I'm told that students and families who come to Wesleyan now are asking, is this a campus-free facility, and that is influencing the decision whether they come to this campus or not. May I read the letter? The new National Guard Center and Convention Center, Brushy Fork Road. We have a clean indoor air policy which prohibits tobacco smoking in public buildings in Upshur County. Federal government policy also prevents smoking in federal facilities. Both prevent smoking in the vicinity of entrances as needed in air intakes. By action today, the Upshur County Board of Health, we officially requested that this new facility become campus-wide tobacco-free from the beginning, to join the Upshur County Public School System, St. Joe's Hospital, and the Buchanan Parks and Recreation Facilities, Core Heart, and hopefully soon West Virginia Wesleyan College. The purposes of this decision is to enhance the health of employees and customers of this facility, helping to protect them from the well-documented hazards of tobacco usage and exposure, both primary and secondary. A separate letter I've recently addressed this issue with the commanding officer of the local National Guard, respectfully, Jerry Reed. For your information, the Health Department is currently considering requesting, in addition to the clean indoor air policy of Upshur County, that the e-cigarettes vaporization units also be added to this policy. But we'll address that more later. There are references there, my letter to the commanding officer, to the federal policy EO 13058, 1997, which specifically says indoor smoking is prohibited in federal facilities. And it also says in section 9 that there is no prohibition of the restrictions being greater than that, according to local decisions. And then you have, if you're aware of the Upshur County Clean Indoor Air Policy. I submit that tobacco usage has 4 parts. 1, habit. 2, addiction, which is primarily the nicotine. 3, the pacifier effect. 4, what we do with our hands and mouth. I think the decision I'm asking you is somewhat similar to the habit of using tobacco, especially the first item, habit. I think we need to be on record as promoting things that promote the health of our citizens. I've had the opportunity to go to 5 different counties over the last few years to present a program called TAR Wars, which the County Family Physician sponsors. I can tell you that the numbers that we are seeing officially don't represent Upshur County or these other counties, at least in the exposure I've had. One of the things I do is ask the kids in 4th and 5th grade, how many of you live in homes where tobacco is used? The very best number I've got was from the intermediate school here in Upshur County, 50%. It goes up to 95%. I think we need to do everything that we can to help our future generations not have this habit. One of the things that I presented to you this morning is a graph from or picture graph from the Surgeon General's report reviewing 50 years of effort to encourage the avoidance of tobacco usage, which shows the many parts of the body that are affected by the use of tobacco. It's an epidemic that I think requires all the efforts that any of us can make. Also in the pack is a letter, a form asking for people to indicate if they have had the problem of using tobacco, what they may have been able to do to stop that habit. I have copies of those that I will pass around to anybody who wishes to take one of each and circulate it to any of their people, any of their friends. If I can answer any questions, I'll be happy to do that.
One question I would have, Director, is have you received a response yet from the commanding officer?
I have not. I have not had communication from him.
And do we, I guess the question is, would the county commission have authority over a state facility in terms of their policies regarding not only smoking or other issues regarding health?
My assumption is that they make the decision. What I'm asking you all for is a letter of support for this position.
Any comment by the commissioners? I think we should take this under advisement. I'm not saying we will not do that, but I think we need to take it under advisement. As a general rule, as an individual, I certainly would support these efforts because, again, I've not been a smoker, but I understand it is a health risk for people that do smoke. But there are also freedoms, there are also personal choices involved. But I do support the policy. But I think we do need to take a review of this to see what we can do. I don't think we can do it right today, but
I understand that, and I appreciate the time that you've allowed me.
thank you, Doctor.
Now, a little clarity there, is a request for it to be smoke-free or tobacco-free?
Tobacco-free,
Tobacco-free, so that's any form of tobacco.
yes.
Can I add something to that? And for a lot of people that, when there's events that are currently going on at the armory, and vendors are outside in the parking lot where obviously you can't smoke in the building, but when people with their young kids are trying to get out to the other vendor areas in the parking lot, I have heard from folks that it's very difficult, because most of the smokers are right there at the door. So, that's how this kind of came about. But, since it's going to be a brand new facility, it'd be very nice to start it clean and keep it clean.
It was a campus, that's why you refer to it as a campus effect versus just.
And as far as personal freedom goes, people can still smoke. We're just asking them not to smoke.
No, I didn't use the word personal freedom, I used the word personal choice.
Personal choice.
And there's a difference
Okay.
from perspective. But
The Convention Bureau discussed the issue, and there was some concern if we restrict to campus-wide. Does this interfere with the business that might come to the convention center? I submit that there may be people who come because of that. The official action taken by the Convention Bureau was that if this was a decision to go campus-free, that we would support it. If it was not the decision, that we encouraged a separate area for smokers.
well, I would request, again, we will have to consult with each other before we make this decision, but I would request that you or someone on the staff prepare a letter for the commission, that if we choose to approve, that we will sign. You could do that.
Will do.
Let me ask you a question for clarity. As far as it's my understanding that the Upshur County Health Department has a certain amount of authority granted by the state, is that correct? As far as restriction of smoking in certain areas?
It's my understanding that the sanitarians can report violations, and then those violations, if I understand correctly, come through the judicial system, and the question is what happens there. I have not personally explored that.
What are the present restrictions in Upshur County as far as tobacco use?
Clean Indoor Air Act provides non-use of smoking within public facilities with certain exceptions. Bingo halls with over 100 tickets. Fraternal organizations when they are private functions.
But other than
Am I answering your question?
Yeah, I think that other than that, in public buildings, there's no smoking allowed in the buildings.
Actually, it's in any building, which includes any business building. And that also includes company vehicles operating in Upshur County. The Clean Indoor Air Policy covers all of that. And that was that section, let's see, it was passed in 2005, upgraded in 2006, and that has been the policy for Upshur County. and the city passed their parks and recreation areas. So any of the city parks are tobacco-free.
In any of the area in the city.
And that's outside, along with, all
Outside
buildings.
also.
Yes.
But those are just smoke-free, not tobacco-free. The Clean Indoor Act is smoke,
That's my
not
understanding.
tobacco use.
That's my
So you can
understanding.
chew,
Yeah.
you can't smoke.
Right, it's, yeah, right, if you got a snooze or something like that,
Right.
that's not.
And is the concern with the electronic cigarettes because actually they do have nicotine in them? Is that the?
Some of them do. There's a number of questions, actually, we've taken action on that and be posting for public comments, and we'll go back and deal with it again on, it's May the 6th,
And
for a formal recommendation.
There's two lines of thought on the e-cigarettes. From what I see public newspapers and on other media, that some people say that it is a means by which people that have been smoking nicotine or tobacco for a period of time have become hooked on the habit. This is a means of weaning them off over a period of time.
there's no proof to that.
And others are saying that strictly it allows them to maintain their habit.
I disagree.
And just there's a distinction between just calling it an e-cigarette and a vapor delivery device, because any of the capsules can be loaded with whatever.
On the vapor, it goes out into the public, similar.
Right, and as, the perception is that if it looks like a cigarette, if it vapors like a cigarette, then it must be a cigarette. The other part of that is the fact that current state code has no restriction on this device. It is marketed as just a general merchandise, i.e. a 10-year-old kid can walk into a store and buy one of these things. There's no restriction on it. Yes, the House of Delegates passed, it's sent to the Senate to make that 18 years old. But the idea is when you have something that looks like a cigarette, that goes right to somebody's head and says, well, shoot, that's cool, I want one of those.
Are e-cigarettes prohibited from indoor under the health policy?
That's
Not yet.
No, that.
Do they,
A number of surrounding counties, if I understand correctly, have added this clean indoor air.
is the argument as to whether they actually emit something that's harmful? And the question would be, do they?
Here's the deal on that is there's not enough study currently there's no study whether it is helpful to somebody to wean themselves off of cigarettes or not. So the whole thing is to err on the side of caution. If later studies come out and say, hey, this device is just perfectly fine, it can be addressed as such. But there's no sense to start off with something and put it there and then try and get people off of it once you find out that it's dangerous.
One of the dilemmas is I understand, close to 600 different products
That can be put into
all
these.
different. And what's in them,
Do they all have nicotine? I mean, is that?
they do not all.
They don't, but it's my understanding that some of them have nicotine, but they don't have the tar.
That's correct. They don't have the tar.
The load that can be put into one of these devices is the equivalent of 2 packs of nicotine in one little charge for some. I mean, and again, right now, there's no policy. So you can have a whole group of people coming in here smoking these things.
Has the Surgeon General, United States Surgeon General, or the Food and Drug Administration taken any policy?
They have not at this point, is my
No.
understanding.
Because it's
Being
such a-
studied, being debated, but no action is taken at this point.
Well, we will take your request under advisement. Again, in anticipation of approval, I would request that a letter or proclamation be prepared that we can adopt.
You'll have it before the end of the week.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate your kindness.
Thanks, Tom. Rick?
May I comment on this? Gentlemen, with all due respect to Dr. Reed, of course, with all the community efforts and all the health issues that he has done in our community, obviously he is in the best interest of the health of our citizens. The real issue is here now, we have enough tobacco smokers in this county that have been doing this for so long that it's hard for a lot of these folks to stop, as Dr. Reed, I'm sure, will attest to, that without the special chemicals of the different kinds of pills and patches and gum that you can take, which I've tried. I am a tobacco user. I am addicted to it. There's no doubt. Of course, the tobacco companies have known that forever. And they said, of course, that wasn't an issue before. That it wasn't a habit for them, and it wasn't cancer causing. Well, we know that to be different now. My argument with this is, I would ask that you seriously, and I know you will, seriously reflect on the campus-wide smoking stoppage. Of course, we have the Clean Indoor Act, which says you can't smoke indoors, which is protecting the safety of all those in an enclosed area. When we get outside, the dilution effect of the tobacco smoking itself alone, the percentage according to all the reports that I've read, and of course the city debated this not too long ago, so you can go back on their records and take a look at a lot of the issues that came up. We also argued the e-cigarette issue, which there is absolutely no reported information as of right now that there is any harmful effects to that, of using that particular device or substance. It is nicotine, yes, and that is actually what the addictive issue is with cigarettes. What Mr. Higgins was referring to is an actual way that there's two different types of the e-cigarettes. There's the one you can buy at the store, at the 7-Eleven, that looks just like a regular pack of cigarettes. You get one in there and that's it. It has actually helped at least 5 people I know quit smoking already. It reduces the amount of nicotine each time that you're using, and you're not getting the same effects as you do from that nicotine as you do with tobacco. Let's keep in mind also, we're talking about tobacco-free, not electronic-free. All right, this is new technology that we really need to use. My last argument would be on this, and I believe Mr. Reed may be able to back me up. Statistics show that tobacco smoking is down and continues to go down. That's not only because of the peer pressure, but that's because of regulations. If we take away any other idea or way to reduce the smoking, I think we're doing harm to ourselves. I would ask that you sincerely, I would ask for a designated smoking area, but not a smoke-free campus.
Well, thank you, Rick. Dr. Reed is correct in his assertion that the National Guard under third statute has the authority to make that determination. That's not something that, in terms of whether it's a campus-free or just a building-free, or how they wish to deal with this request is really up to the state and the National Guard, if I understand correctly what you're asserting, Doctor.
That's my understanding.
He's just asking for us, he's asking to send the
For your
letter.
support,
Right.
I would ask that perhaps you not support that effort. And my other argument would be was something that was brought up within the CDB itself, that you may actually lose business. And I'll give you a prime example, Strawberry Festival. Another ordinance within the city's ordinance is that within any kind of a public gathering, that be it from the car shows to Strawberry Festival, there can be no smoking. I do believe all of you heard the hoorah of the non-smoking at these facilities. Great. At these events, great. But there needed to be designated smoking areas for those that actually do smoke and can't get over that habit. I think the same thing could be worked out at the Armory. I applaud the efforts of the community for the past decade on the non-smoking. It's working. Kids are not smoking as much as they were. Statistics show it's down. It's going to be a while before the generations die off that are connected to the smoking now. I don't believe that's going to be an issue in the next decade. I believe most smoking will be gone. Why are we dealing with this now? I think it's a way for political issues to be used for a betterment of themselves, or whatever organization it is. And it's my opinion that you not support this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a couple comments. You can sit down, but I'm not going to review. But, and in reference to the reduction of smokers, I did see an article somewhere talking about the legislature's looking at, I think, increasing the tax on cigarettes to $1, by $1. I think it'll make them $1.50, somewhere around there. It's about
$1.55.
$1.55.
And that would put it within the national average.
But I think New
We have one
York,
of the
I think it
lowest.
was New York that the tax is $3.
A pack of cigarettes in New York cost you on average $14.
Right, $3.50 of tax in New York. So the area, and I think what the consensus of the report was, the higher the tax on cigarettes, the greater the impact on reducing smoking. And I can kind of understand that, but by the same token, what that does is people that, and maybe people that really can't afford it, maybe shouldn't be smoking, but that's their choice. But what happens sometimes is when government puts so much excess tax on sin tax, on something like that, and what that does, then the people that really can't afford it, they're paying a lot more. And I think you have to look at the fact of the addiction. It's kind of like what we deal with the regional jail issue. We have a lot of people that go into regional jail and their bill's $50,000, $55,000 a month. A lot of those people that go in there are addicted to drugs, to alcohol, to substance abuse. And if they don't get some help, they'll just continue to go right back again. They'll come out like our guy that walks the streets does, and they'll go in and get dried out for 30 days, and they'll come right back out, and within 5 minutes they got a bottle. And I think that we need to look at a combination of helping people, because I smoked for 30 years. And I know that just exactly what Dr. Reed said, part of it's habit, part of it's addiction, part of it's having something in your hand. I smoked, before I quit, I smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and a lot of times I'd be working on paperwork and have 3 cigarettes going in 3 different places, not even realizing. A lot of times it's just having something in your hand. It's just, there are those different aspects of it. And I know that it's, for people, it's not easy to quit something that's addictive to your body. And so I think there should be an equal amount of emphasis on helping people break that addiction. I think there are people, as Rick alluded to, that he's tried, that do want to quit. And I think it has to be a balance of protecting the public, but also helping the people that want to quit, because there are a lot of people that smoke that really want to quit. And they understand it's not healthy, it's not a good habit, it's expensive, and all those aspects. And I'll say this, not anything to my glory, but I smoked for 30 years, and there was a good Christian friend of mine that told me one day, Fred Bragg, and some of you may have known Fred, he was a mechanic, worked on farm equipment stuff, but one day he said to me, he said, "Darling, the Lord wants to do something good for you today." And I said, "What's that, Fred?" And he said, "He wants to help you quit smoking." And I honestly believe that that's the reason I quit. It was not any power of mine, but it was because God helped me quit, because I did make a decision that I didn't want to quit. And I said, "Lord, I know I can't quit on my own, but I know you have the ability." And from that point on, it was like I never smoked a cigarette in my life, and it doesn't bother me to be around other people. It doesn't make me want to smoke cigarettes. So I know it wasn't anything I did. But I do know that with addictions, I think we need to spend an equal amount of effort and time and money in helping people that really want to quit. And I'll get on one second.
Thank you, Doug. Any other comments? Move on. Next, we have a representative from Country Roads Transit regarding the annual report and funding request. Could you please identify yourself, your position, for the viewing audience and the press.
Hi, I'm Laura Ward. I'm the Director of Country Roads Transit, and I'm here to report to you on how our year went, because you are generous enough to support us each year. I'm happy to say that we saw a 7.5% increase overall in fiscal year 2013 over 2012, and I'm especially excited that we saw a 52% rise in non-senior, non-disabled riders. So in West Virginia, where public transit hasn't been in place like it has in big cities, it is hard to get the word out that Country Roads Transit is a transit system for everyone, not just for seniors. So that is especially important this year, I think, that 52% rise. We continue to see strong numbers in rides for medical purposes and for shopping. And I think that that's important to be able to get someone safely to get the things they need and back home again. I am very, very excited this year. We wanted to grow Country Roads Transit in Upshur County since we put it in place. It's very hard with one van to properly service a county like Upshur County. So while everything is not final yet, both of our boards have approved that we will be entering into a contract with the Upshur County Senior Center. We will, in essence, absorb their transportation program into ours. What is very exciting about that is you know that the contributions you give to us, the funding you give to us is matched by federal dollars. So that every dollar you give gives us a dollar of federal money. Well, the same thing is going to happen. We're going to be able to turn the money that they spend on transportation into double that amount of money. We're going to go from one van that is demand response to having 4 vans. Again, we're past preliminary, but we're not final yet on all of the plans. We want to reinstitute a route like we had in the very beginning. That didn't work in the beginning because it's hard to do a route and demand response with the same van. So now that we'll have multiple vans, we'll have a route at least on this end of town, and we're starting to work on that route right now. We'll go past the senior center, of course, through town, past the banks and the post office, past public housing, to St. Joe's. And we're still working on that route right now, but we'll just keep looping that all day long.
What will the hours of operation plan to be?
Right now, they're generally 8:15 to 3:30, and we are still looking at that. There are a few riders at the senior center who get rides a little bit later than that, and we will accommodate that. What is terrific when I went to their board and pitched this idea was that when I said, then we'll be able to have this route going. We'll also be able to go out to Adrian to get someone who needs to come into the doctor. They were very excited about that because at this point their transportation program with the funding they have doesn't allow them to do that. So we're very, very excited. We think we'll have a route van and 2 demand response vans going all the time. We'll be able to hire their drivers. They have to pass the drug screening and the criminal background check and everything that we do, which I feel sure they will. It's such an exciting time. The State Division of Transit has approved this, so when we submit our grant, which will be going in tomorrow, it will have all these numbers in it. The head of the State Division of Transit is very excited about the idea of expanding service, as are we. It was very difficult to know, do you put a lot of money into expanding the service from one van, or do you not? It's a big investment. So this partnership is going to allow us to do that. We really feel like these kind of partnerships, and we alluded to this last year, are where we're going to be able to stabilize or increase service to the community in a time of tightening budgets. Everyone's going to have to work together. And I really feel like that's going to be beneficial to Upshur County.
Thank you for that. But I also agree with your observation regarding utilizing combined sources. We see that in the tourism industry with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, advertising a regional basis as opposed Economic Development Authority issues and counties that surround us. There's some talk of combining efforts there as well. So I think this, because of, as you've indicated, tightening budgets, people have to be more attentive their constituency that this can be serve the public in a better, more effective manner with this approach.
Thank you. I hope you will consider continuing your funding for us. Again, every dollar that you give us provides a matching federal dollar. So any cuts we take, hit us doubly as hard. So I appreciate your continued support, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
We certainly will take your request under advisement. We always have in the past.
Thank you so much.
And we're in the process of getting ready for our budget meetings with our officials. Certainly that'll be one of our issues that we'll look at.
Thank you so much.
And I think it's a great program, and I think there's been some talk for some time of working with the senior center. And so will that include Randolph and Upshur Senior Center working together? Is that why you have four?
Well, Senior Center actually has, the Upshur County Senior Center currently has 3 vans under one kind of grant program.
Right.
And we have 1 van under the public transit grant.
Right.
So we'll be able to absorb those into our system. There are 3 vans into our system. And then we will contract with them on an annual basis to provide that service. So we already, when Country Roads Transit started, the transportation at the Randolph County Senior Center ceased to exist. It was just Country Roads Transit.
It was absorbed into the Country Roads Transit.
Right, in 2006 when we
Right.
first started.
Well,
But there'll not be any transit between Randolph and Upshur County.
Actually, yes.
Oh, there will be?
We haven't been able to do that in the past either, because we wanted to make sure people here are getting to their doctor's appointments and getting to shopping. And if you take a trip to Elkins or even halfway, it takes up so much of that one van's time. So that's one of the things that we want to do, is to institute, we don't know at this point how often we want to do that, at least once a week, I hope. At least meet in the middle, so people can go to Elkins from Buchanan, people can go to Buchanan from Elkins. You know, my mother can come over and go to the Hallmark, which we love in Buchanan. And, you know, visit the Strawberry Festival. There's all sorts of things that people would want to do that can't drive all that way.
Sounds like your service is expanding commendably well.
Well, that's what our ideal is. That's what
I
we
know
want.
last year also, last 2 years, I believe, and there was also some expansion for students during the summer months to go out to the rec park or the swimming pool.
Right, we've tried that.
Has that been working successfully, or what's your observations there?
We had in the initial route, we had very little participation, but what happened was the mountain cap caught on to that and said, you know, we're not on that route, but we have a big interest in that. Can you work with us? And so we did. So that was greatly successful both for them and us. And it was kind of nice to have those kids going out to the pool and enjoying what kids should be enjoying in the summertime.
well, maybe this will open up the opportunity, at least look into if there is a need as far as maybe starting earlier and later, so that if people do need a ride to work and a ride home, that they can utilize that. Because maybe this will open up. I know with one, that was impossible to do. With the 4, maybe that'll open that up. Maybe, I'm not sure how you would survey the community as to how great that need is. But I know as gasoline prices go up and stay up, and you know that's a real issue for a lot of people. Whether you know to be able to afford the gasoline, come to work on a daily basis.
And you're exactly right. More vans helps us do that. So in Randolph County, for example, we've partnered with the local youth build, and they needed their kids to be there at 7 in the morning. I call them kids. They're young adults to be there at 7 in the morning. So we had a driver come in early, and he went on a route from Beverly into Elkins and picked up several of their students and delivered them there and stayed a little late to get them home at the time they needed to be home. So it's working wonderfully where we have a set number of people that makes it worth it. And we always work towards those kind of community partnerships so we can get people there.
That's good. I think it's a great program.
Thank you, Boyd.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your kindness.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You also. Next, we have no more presenters, but we do have some items for discussion which we can continue. We have a request for an employment status change by one of our 911 dispatchers, 911 dispatchers, excuse me, Jody Martin. Megan, would you like to address that, please?
Personal reasons, she was asking to move from full-time to part-time with, hopefully, I believe she said, in the future, maybe considering going back to full-time, but right now, she would like to move to part-time.
Does that require any action on the part of us?
Yeah, we'll need
Just
to.
change her plan.
Okay, you have a motion to change the work hours for Jody Martin at the 911 Center. Do I have a motion to recommend that change?
So moved.
Second.
Having been approved and passes.
Aye.
Well, I vote that, well, it's been both, if I get this correctly here, it's been both moved and approved.
Move in second.
Moved and seconded.
You have one vote.
Okay, we'll have all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's no opposed, so it does pass.
Well,
And you can erase that tape there, 60 minutes.
There you go. The sausage is.
Yes, exactly. Okay, we next have
On to the next casing.
Next, we have a request for Upshur County Emergency Management to use purchase card for federal grant purchases. Megan, would you please address that request?
Yes, they've received a grant recently, and we're the sub-grantees, and they would like to be able to use their purchasing card, the government purchasing card, in order to purchase the supplies for that grant. One of the stipulations, I think I included it in there, says that you cannot make money on the grant, but with the purchasing card, you get 2% back. Or it actually depends on the vendor, but so they were asking for the ability to use a purchasing card, because if you don't use that, it takes much longer. They said their vendors are limited because, you know, if they are waiting for payment for months, they don't necessarily want to do that. So I talked to, and I know that the gyms out of the 911 center or OEM center talked to the state as well, but they said that if we do use the purchasing card and we get a certain percentage back, just reduce your request for reimbursement by that amount. And our bookkeeper also contacted the local government purchasing card specialist, and they said that if we provide them with the name of the vendor, they can tell us specifically how much money we're getting back for that purchase. I'm still trying to get a hold of the auditor's office, and I tried to contact the federal government because it is a federal grant, and we're the sub-grantee through the state, just to make sure it's okay with them. I still have not heard back from them, but from the sounds of it, for most people involved, it's okay.
It's just that fact you can't make money on the grant. That's
Right.
the key. Getting rid of
Right.
that. Are there some vendors that actually charge for use of the P card like on regular credit cards, or that may be part of it there as far as the?
That I don't know. I don't know for big purchase items like that if they do that. I mean, I know that at some stores, the fee for using a credit card is put onto your purchase. So if you pay
Right.
cash, you know, you get it.
Some vendors absorb it, and some.
Pass it on.
Right.
Pass it on.
I'm not sure, but this is primarily the reimbursement that we
Right.
get from using the
Well, I
card.
think it's good because it'll certainly help small business, because
Right.
I know just from personal experience that some companies are 3, 4, 5, 6 months before they pay, and this
Right.
is right there.
And those are the people that it really hurts
Right.
if we can't do that, because
Right.
they can't float that amount, whereas a larger business
Right.
might be able to float that for longer.
Yeah.
So it limits their-
Thank you.
Well, we have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Has been motion approved. Vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion passes. Next, we have a request for approval of Upshur County Upshur Lewis Animal Control Facility volunteers, Mary Casto, Kristen Van Veldvizen, and Amanda Clark. We have a motion to approve those volunteers.
What was that last name, Kristen, what?
Clark.
Yeah.
Van
And
Veldvizen.
I'm not sure if I spelled that
I'm
correctly.
just so glad that I didn't have to pronounce that name.
Van Veldvizen. I hope that's not her sitting in that room back there.
No.
Okay.
She volunteers around the
I
camera.
know. We have approval,
So
motion to
moved.
approve that.
Second.
Moved and approved, vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have employment of Assistant County Administrator effective March 2nd, 2014, at $40,000 annually, page 22. Megan, would you like to comment on that?
Sure. We held interviews last Wednesday, and we had a number of very good candidates, but I think My recommendation would be that we employ Carrie Wallace. She is able to start, and it would be easy for payroll to start her on March 2nd. And she does have a master's in business from Wesleyan, I believe. She has her MBA from West Virginia Wesleyan College. She has experience in management, so due to her advanced degree, my recommendation would be that we start her at $40,000, which is what the last assistant administrator salary was when she left.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve hiring of Terry Wallace as Assistant County Administrator?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, having been approved and seconded, I ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll welcome her on board. Hopefully, she'll be here next week.
Not next week, but the one after.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that from looking at your desk, I know that you have busy agendas.
There will be plenty for her to do.
Anyone following the proceedings here, see how much we rely on the administrators, and we appreciate the efforts. And I know you've done working yeoman's work the last couple of weeks since the vacancy occurred, so thank you very much.
And I think the average person out here, no one knows all the work that is done by the county administrator and how she looks up items for the commissioner and keeps us well informed. And for her to have a little help, take some of that burden off of her, only be an asset to the commissioners here.
Thank you, Betty, appreciate that. I think it is true. You know, these things happen, we have government, and you want government to do what government is supposed to do, provide services to the community, the county in this case. And there's many times things behind the scenes that are ongoing that you don't catch in a 2 or 3 hour presentation that we have weekly. There's much more to the duties that we as commissioners have than a 3 hour meeting on a weekly basis. And certainly with the requirements of government today, the legislative mandates that we have, the federal mandates that we have to operate under, and other issues of liability across the board, it's very important that we have a staff that's competent and capable to address those issues. And again, we thank you. Next, we have a report or a request from the Region 7 Planning and Development Council relative to project priority. In the past, I think on an annual basis, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Tenney, we've dealt with this in the past, but we're requested to give points to various projects that are being considered public service projects. I know in the past we had given a majority of points, I think last year, to the Adrian Public Service District Phase 6 water project, which was a $5,500,000 project to extend water service. But as I recall, about a month ago, we received word that the Small Cities Block Grant and others had been denied, and that they requested that Adrian submit another request for the current fiscal year. So we are required to identify those projects by priority for consideration. And we've been requested to do that by March 14th, 2014. So I know it will review those previous pending projects and determine at a later date, future hearing, what our recommendation is to Region 7.
We can take a look at that and see, because like you said with Adrian, they've been funded, so we'll take a look at. I think we need to take a good look at all the projects on there and see if there's some that's changed and some maybe changed in priority, and we can work on that and have that
Which one?
agenda for
Future.
next week or the next week.
Right, and
We've got what, 3 weeks or something.
By March 14th, so within the next at least 3 weeks.
Right.
As you say, some of those priorities change
Right.
because of the availability of funds. There's some
Right.
grants that are available, others are not so available anymore.
Right, and these are the priorities of counties that go to Region 7, so that they can know what the priorities are and make sure that the desire of the counties are met. in that process where they pull all these together and work on finding projects. So this is pretty critical in what Region 7 does to help us.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we have a request to approve an order for the number of election officials, election commissioners for the May 13 primary election. I presume that not a list of individuals, but basically positions to serve as primary election precinct officials, and by number, as opposed to identifying particular individuals at this point. And those numbers are there. They were provided to us, I believe, by the county clerk. Is that correct?
Yeah, those
So,
are set.
yeah, those are set by the clerk. Do I have a motion to approve that request as submitted? Those requests as submitted? Is that a motion?
So moved.
A second. Being approved, being motioned and approved. I call for a vote on this motion.
Aye.
Moved and passed. Try to move along here, folks. Okay, next we have an order to approve the number of sets of emergency absentee voting commissioners for the May 13th primary election. That would be 2 emergency ballot commissioners, 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, for the primary election to be held on May 13th, 2014. And they will be a team delivering emergency absentee ballots and must be available to do so from May 6th through May 13, 2014. And again, those are not names at this point that I can see, but rather just the 2 positions to be approved. Do I have a motion to approve the emergency ballot commissioners?
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Moved and seconded. I've asked for a vote. All in favor say aye. Motion carried. I think I did that one right that time.
Getting better.
I'm getting better. Practice makes perfect.
You just didn't answer, you didn't get right.
Well, I'm not, I don't,
You have to.
I, no, well, my silence is approval, I think is the way it is. Unless I object.
Silence is concurrence.
That's right. Okay, next we have,
Pat him on the back.
Now we'll let him do it.
next we do have an item to approve the temporary replacement of Democratic ballot commissioner for the May 13 primary election. In this particular case, the Upshur County Clerk, Debbie Thacker Wilfon, has requested that pursuant to West Virginia Code, as amended, that the appointment be of a ballot commissioner to serve in Upshur County, the replacement being temporary due to the current Democratic ballot commissioner being unavailable, and the recommendation is for Elizabeth Mao at 46 Smithfield Street to be approved as a temporary ballot commissioner.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, I ask for a vote. Approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. That concludes, I think, approval of invoices, payments. We do have for information. We have a statewide transportation improvement program, STIP, which we've received communication from the West Virginia Department of Transportation Division of Highways, and basically it advised that they have to make available for review and comment by the public a listing of projects that they will be engaged in during fiscal 2014 through 2019, funding provided in part by the Federal Highway Administration and the Federal Transit Administration. The review of these projects reflects that there are 2 such projects in Upshur County, one being a project on Alexander Road to resurface a portion of that road at a cost of $541,800. The federal cost will be 0, so that will be presumably under state funds. And the other would be a similar situation for resurfacing of Old Route 33 at a fund cost of $290,000 by the Department of Highways. Both of those projects in Upshur County, and the funding obligation date to be August 28, 2014. So any public comment relative to those two proposed projects can be directed to the Department of Highways, West Virginia Department of Highways. Next, we have, going down, we have, of course, today we adjourned the Board of Equalization Review, which we've been conducting since January 30 at various dates, where we've heard appeals from citizens and businesses relative to the assessment that they received. So we adjourned today. I don't believe we have one call-in today, individually calling in, who I understand is a perennial call-in. So he'll be able to appeal today by telephone. We have our meetings, and is there anything else? That being said, I think we can now address our bills, which we have, I understand, a number of today. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it.